Welcome, everybody. So, what I wanted to talk about today is how to master your money. So, I think this is such an important topic, regardless of any sort of industry that you're in or whatever your goals are, whatever you're working in. This is so valuable to really have a goal in mind. Because if you don't take control of your money, you have to know that your money may take control of you. So, you have to have a really, really strategic plan in place. So, let's go ahead and get started. A little bit about myself. Jennifer Kenna. I am a team leader real estate broker here in Florida. I've sold over 1,000 properties over the last 12 years with my team. We also own several multifamily properties, some rentals, and also some annual rentals. So I'm a big real estate investor myself. Personally, love to travel. Have my husband Jerry, 3 daughters, and then my new baby grandson EJ. So have a full home life as well. Very, very busy. Of course, we have to have our disclaimer on there. We're going to share some advice today about how to earn money, how to save money, how to invest your money, and also how to save on some taxes. But I want to let you know I am not an accountant. I am not a CPA, all that kind of stuff. You guys have to do your own due diligence before making your own financial decisions. But I'm going to give you some advice from my own personal experiences and the businesses that I have grown and built. So, first advice, you want to become a student. So if it's something that you're not really comfortable with, you don't really know how to invest your money, you don't know a lot about the conversation about the topic, learn. There are so many resources that are out there. That's how I have learned. That's how I've had coaches that have helped train me up on certain levels of my life and my business and my finances. So become a student, ask questions, be curious, learn more. So to get good at anything is going to require commitment, education, and action. So anything, any goal that you have, anything your heart desires, you're going to have to really commit to it, make the effort, learn, and get good at something. So money is no different than any other thing that you try to get really good at. So the best investment you're ever going to make is into yourself. So there's tons of books, there's lots of resources that have helped me in my financial journey. I will love to share them with you. I highly recommend that you read and learn as much as you can. There's lots of free podcasts, there's lots of YouTube channels, a lot of really free information that you can get started today to learn more about it. Number one, I want you to also believe in yourself, right? Sometimes people get a little uncomfortable talking about money. I don't know why that is. It's almost like talking about religion or politics. It's just something that makes people kind of anxious or nervous. Maybe they relate from where they grew up or where they came from, or the things that their parents taught them or didn't teach them. But it's a skill. It's something that you can learn. So just believing in yourself, know it's possible for you. If it's possible for someone else, why wouldn't it be possible for you? So if you have a mentor or someone you look up to and you're like, I don't care if it's a celebrity or it's somebody that you don't even know personally, but that you respect and you look up to, why can't that be you too? I really want you guys to first have some confidence. Small setbacks, life happens, things happen. It doesn't define who you are, right? So give yourself a little bit of grace as well, and just continue to grow and learn and improve. So financial literacy is really, really important in your life. So for some reason, people will get really good at skills or hobbies or sports. Like you'll know every single name of every sports team, but you won't spend that same investment, same time, same knowledge into financial literacy, right? So a strong foundation of literacy is going to help you in various life goals. So savings, retirement, using debt responsibly if you want to run and start a business. All these things are really important to your life. So you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with them, that you're staying financially literate. The lack of financial literacy, this can also lead to many hardships. So accumulating a lot of debt burdens, bad credit, bankruptcy, foreclosures, divorce, other consequences, right? So the pain of also not learning it or not putting the time, commitment, effort into it can also really affect your life in a negative way. So I hope you guys are on board, open-minded. So let's dive into this. All right, so how to become a master of money. I like those words, right? Like we don't want to just dabble or just kind of play around with it or just have enough to pay our bills. I want to master it. Let's really learn a lot about it. Well, the first thing, number one, is understanding that 80% of wealth is psychology. That is a very shocking statistic to me. You're thinking, well, I thought it was just skill, or maybe it was, someone smarter than me or better educated than me, came from a better family. Wait a minute. All of this is up in between my ears. This is all psychology. So 80% is psychology. So I want you guys to think about that. So wealthy people turn obstacles into opportunities. You can either sit back and go, oh, poor me, and nothing works for me, and this isn't working out, and I'm a failure, and I'm never going to get it right. Or you look at those as opportunities. Every failure is an opportunity to learn and to grow. Focus on your strengths and adopt an abundance mindset that allows you to get out of your own way. We all have fears, right? We all have insecurities. We all have things that we're afraid of that make us worried at night and we can't sleep. And like that's a normal human trait. That's not unique to you, that's everybody. But if you keep an abundance mindset, it's going to allow you to get out of your own way, to get all those fears out of there. So being in the real estate industry, we're constantly talking about there are so many, potential buyers and sellers out there. There is an abundance of people buying and selling and moving, right? Rather than thinking this is my only one client. I don't want to lose this one person. It's really, really important that we're constantly thinking and training our brains to think abundance. Number two, self-discipline. So discipline for me used to be a bad word. It's almost like in school, right? You got in trouble, you got disciplined. It was like a negative thing for me. As I've gotten older and have really, really great coaches, really successful people around me, that is also intentional. But one of the things that's really I've noticed is they all are very self-disciplined. So if there's that, that night out that someone's pressuring them, like you have to go out late, tonight and go get the drinks, they go, no, because I have an early meeting in the morning. My meeting is more important than going out and having drinks tonight. They're always constantly planning for their future. So self-discipline is a huge trait that now I look at it as a positive thing. I feel like it gives you control. Ooh, who doesn't want control of their own life? I have my own self-discipline. I know I'm not going to do these three things because I know that I'm disciplined and I have room for growth. So mastering money is a long game. So everybody wants the quick fix, right? Like I want it and I need it right now. It's not how it works. It's a very long game with a long plan. So it takes patience. That's not fun, right? That's a discipline we have to learn. It takes strategy. That's a commitment to want to learn these things. It takes a willingness to fail. That hurts, right? That's not fun. Nobody wants to do that. Everyone wants it to all work out and everything to fall into line. But you have to have those willingness to fail and a desire to learn from failure. So don't get down on yourself. Give yourself some grace. Say, okay, what did I learn from this? How can I improve next time? And just keep pushing forward. So number one, you have to master your own mind. You have to put yourself in a position to master the game of money. Number three, becoming financially literate. So you also need to learn how to invest. How do you achieve true financial freedom? I think that's probably everybody's goal. At least I hope it is, right? I want freedom. I want money to work for me. I don't want to work for money the rest of my life. So think about your risk tolerance, your goals. How much do you have to invest? What are you looking to accomplish? Getting started with maybe some lower risk investments at the beginning and then building from there. So as your financial literacy grows, so will your investments. So number four, now we want to get clear about your goals. So how do you know that you're on track if you don't know where you're going, right? We need to have a GPS in our phone to make sure that we're on track. So to truly master your money, you need to make a massive action plan. So we don't want to live on a hope and a prayer and just saying, oh, it's all going to come together. We need a massive action plan. So ask yourself, what do you want? What's your end goal? What would be financial freedom for you? Because what's financial freedom for you might be different than what it is for me. And then ask yourself, why do you want it? Because the why is what's going to really push you forward when things get tough, when things don't work out, when maybe there's some setbacks, there's that fear and doubt start to creep in again. It's going to go back to that why. So you really have to know, why do you want it? And then connecting that why to your goal is going to create purpose. So that is vital. Number five, use the power of attraction. If you guys have ever read The Secret or any of those books about attraction, it works with money. So money flows in and out of people's lives, right? There's lots of people that maybe made millions of dollars. We know MC Hammer, all these people that have, lost everything. I think Mike Tyson, they had millions and millions of dollars and then lost everything, right? So a lot of that is what kind of attraction, what are they attracting into their life? So one of the best ways to do this is power of proximity. You want to surround yourself with successful people. People that talk about money, that have money, that do the things that you want to be doing, the people that you look up to and aspire to, you want to model what they're doing. So this is mastermind groups, attending different events. Tony Robbins was a huge mentor of mine. He was my first financial coach. We went to an event called Business Mastery, and I'm surrounded by CEOs and entrepreneurs and really, forward-thinking people. So being in the proximity of powerful people is now going to help become attracted to you as well. So you want to find a mentor. Most successful people have had mentors in their lives. I've had about 4. So every time that you're trying to hit that next level, that next plateau, you're trying to go into uncharted territories, it'd be really great to know somebody that's already been there before and can help you cut some time and effort and get you there faster. Lastly, be the creator of your own life. How exciting is that? You want to become a money master so that you can create your life rather than just being a manager, like of life circumstances. Things just happen to you and I just have to manage them and get through it and tough it out. What if you're actually creating your own life? It's a really, really exciting thing to do. So once you realize that you're in control and when you view life as happening for you instead of happening to you, everything will change for you. So these are some really great tools here. Like I said, I do have some references. Tony Robbins is a big one for me. Money Master the Game. If you have not got that book, please read it. It came out maybe 10, 15 years ago. Amazing opportunity. Really helped me with some of the tools I'm going to share with you today. He talks a lot about investments and he interviews all of the wealthiest people all over the world. And then he donated all the profits he made from the book to his charity. So if you guys get the opportunity or Audible or, whatever you prefer, it's a really, really fantastic book. Think and Grow Rich was the first book I ever read by Napoleon Hill. It was written in like 1914 or something. It's a really old book and it really shifted the way that I looked at money and possibilities. So it's a great one. Robert Kiyosaki's got a whole series of books. I recommend all of them. He's a real estate investor. So if you have interest in real estate, he's definitely someone to learn from, but he wrote the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad was his first big bestseller. The benefit of it is he talks about how his dad was not an investor, worked a very safe job I think he was an accountant. And then his best friend's dad was a very wealthy entrepreneur. And he got to really see the differences in their lives, the choices they made, the thoughts they had. Really, really fantastic book. And then The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley. Excellent book as well. So these are just 4. There's tons of books out there. These are just the ones that I personally recommend that have really shifted the way that I look at money. All right, so let's start with some principles. Let's make it easy, right? Let's chunk it down. Instead of it being this big, complicated topic, let's make it something that we can really understand. Start with the principles of financial literacy and then start to build on those, right? So the first step is how to earn more. So when I first started reading a lot of these financial books and I had big aspirations and goals and dreams, I didn't have a lot of money. So the first step I had to do was had to learn how to earn more money. And the way that you earn more money is by adding more value. If you can add more value and solve more problems, you can earn more money. So reading financial books and saying I didn't have the money to invest, it wasn't very helpful for me. So that was my first step. I had to almost put the book down, go learn how to earn more money and add more value. And then I can come back and I have some money to invest for the opportunities. And then how to spend. So a lot of times we spend maybe like our parents did. Like what did we learn? Our parents didn't even know they were modeling to us. They didn't even know that they were our first reference points on how we're going to spend the rest of our lives, right? That's a lot of pressure for a parent. And maybe they're not that good at it. Maybe you've seen your parents go through financial problems, financial trouble, and we don't want to duplicate what they've done. So how to spend is huge. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then it's like, how do we invest? So once we get those 2 starting points conquered, right, now we can start building on our foundation. We want to know how to invest. And then lastly, how to protect your money. Because there's also lots of people, like I said, that made a ton of money and they lost it. So we don't want to be in those categories either. So those are really our first 4 principles. So let's dive a little bit into those. The first one, to create financial freedom, you have to earn money. So the income you generate has to exceed your expenses. So that's much easier said than done, right? We have to be earning more than we're spending so that we have some money set aside to invest in our financial freedom. So have a plan to generate the income that you need to start your financial journey. So this is going to be a lot of goal planning. I'd love for you guys to do it on the call here. Just start writing it down. What does this look like for you? What are your goals? What do you want to make this year? And then we want to work that backwards to see how do we achieve that. If you have bigger goals, decide if you can make more money with your current career. So sometimes people are trying to do side hustles. I think that's kind of common and popular now. I don't know why. But instead of just diving into the opportunity that's right in front of them, the business that they're in, they have a job, they have a skill set, just dive in, go all in and commit to adding more value to that. They start diluting their value by doing lots of different things. Well, during the day, I'm going to work in healthcare. And then at night, I'm going to go waitress and bartend. Like now you're the jack of all trades, the master of none. Why don't you just really get good at your day job, whatever that is, your primary income, and see how can you create more value to earn more money? So maybe you need more skills. Maybe you need to go back to school. Maybe there's a license that you need. Maybe there's some more training that you need. Whatever that is, start right where you're at today. Start there. And maybe you're in a career you don't like. Well, maybe it's an opportunity to get out of that career and get into something that you really do like. That's going to earn you the money that you need. Number 2, do you track where your money is spent? So first of all, you have to be honest with yourself, right? This is your financial goals, your financial freedom plan. There's lots of apps that can help you track where's your money being spent. So be honest with yourself and see how are you currently spending and make sure your expenses are not exceeding your income. So that's going to be step number 1. So there's lots of, your bank statements can run different graphs and reports and tell you you're spending this much on, going to Starbucks every morning. You're spending this much on going out to dinner, this much on your, fancy shoes, whatever it is. Just be honest for yourself. My credit card actually does the same thing. It gives me different snapshots of what I'm spending. Credit Karma is another one that's free. So just get a snapshot of where your money is going. Because even if you continue to earn more, there's lots of people earn a lot of money that it goes right back out the back door and they don't save any or invest any, right? So you want to make sure where can some spending be cut? If your spending is exceeding your income, you either got to raise your income or cut your expenses or both. You're going to get there a lot faster by actually doing both. And now you have some money set aside to invest. Number 3, learning the best areas to invest your money. This is where that financial literacy is going to come in. Let's start learning. Let's start, joining podcasts, reading books. Wealthy people have specific strategies of what they invest in. They don't just give things a shot and they get lucky. Maybe that happens some of the time, but not for long-term wealth that we're talking about. So they don't leave it to chance. Diversifying your portfolio between stocks, bonds, CDs, real estate, gold, crypto, whatever it is, all based on what your goals are and what your risk tolerance are. And then we want to divide your investments into 3 different buckets, which I'll go over, which is super exciting and fun to do. Number 4, now that you've earned a healthy income, you have some savings, you have some investments working for you. Now you want to protect your money. So putting your money into a trust so you can help protect some of your investments. You want to save as much on taxes as possible. Once you start earning more money, you're going to start seeing 40% of it going to taxes, right? I think everyone's happy to pay their fair share, but doesn't mean you want to be writing $1 million checks every year to the IRS. That's pretty discouraging. So we want to make sure we're being tax savvy and we want to give as much, inheritance to pass it on. Now that you've created wealth, you want generational wealth to your family without passing taxes on to them. So there's lots of strategies that we can put in place to help when that comes around too. So one of the first lessons that I learned that completely changed everything was learning to pay yourself first. So sometimes we're thinking that the bills have to get paid first, right? Because they're calling, they're sending stuff in the mail, they're demanding, they're the loudest voice. So a lot of times we earn money and we pay all our bills first. When you shift your thinking to paying yourself first, it's actually a lot more exciting. It incentivizes you to earn more. It incentivizes you to do more. Right now, I want to save more money because I'm actually getting the good feeling of paying myself first. So disciplined saving and smart investing with the goal on financial freedom, right? That's what we want to do first. Millionaires invest 15 to 20% of their income on their savings and investments before paying their bills. So put that money aside first, right? So if you have, and you can actually, a lot of times you can automate this. So if you're getting paid a Friday, you get payroll on Friday, or in our business, real estate, you got a closing coming up. You can actually put some of that before it hits your account, just put it aside. Put the 10%, 15, if you can do 20%, awesome. Put that aside and don't look at it because that's going to be for saving and investing. And then your 80% you have left is how you pay your bills. Because in order to have financial freedom, you have to start putting that money aside and being a smart investor. So many millionaires are very frugal. If you guys know any, I know I experience them a lot in helping people buy and sell homes. they're not seduced by this hyper consumerism, like, oh, I have to have the newest things, the newest car, the newest clothes, the nicest house on the street. A lot of the people that have a lot of those fancy things usually are not the millionaires that they appear to be. They're more trying to do that for, society than they're doing it for themselves. So we're talking about building financial freedom for yourself. You don't have to go out and spend your money to look really rich. Lots of millionaires actually don't spend a lot of money and are pretty frugal. So let's learn from that, right? Let's start modeling some of these behaviors that other millionaires are doing, and then commitment to the long term. So one thing Warren Buffett says, always invest for the long term. So he's one of the richest people in the world. Again, I'm going to model and listen to the strategies that he's put into place. So you want to always be thinking long term. We're not looking for that, quick fix that we're all of a sudden going to make a lot of money overnight. A lot of those things aren't real anyway, right? We know a lot of those are scams. So if you just have this in mind, that this is for a long-term plan, and we're going to watch our money rise and compound over time. So we need some patience. Compounding interest. Hopefully you guys are familiar with the term. The great thing right now with banks is they're actually giving interest again, even though our interest rates have gone up. Now, at least savings accounts, CDs, money market accounts, all these things are at least providing interest so that you can start taking advantage of compounded interest. So I love Albert Einstein. Compound interest is the greatest invention the world has ever produced. I love that. He also calls it the seventh, what is it? The seventh, darn, I forget it. Wonders of the world. That's what it is. So very, very exciting. If you guys don't know about it, I did want to include a short video. It's about under 2 minutes long, so not too long, but I want to make sure you guys know what am I talking about when I say compounded interest.
Compound interest is the interest an investor earns on his original investment, plus all the interest earned on the interest that has accumulated over time. It is easier to think of compound interest as interest on interest. To understand compound interest, let's first look at simple interest, the interest earned on the original principal only. Suppose you deposit $10,000 into a high-interest savings account at a 5% simple interest rate for 3 years. The interest you earn each year is 5% times $10,000, which equals $500, for a total of $1,500 of interest at the end of year 3. $500 plus $500 plus $500. Now instead, suppose that you deposit the same $10,000 at 5% interest compounded annually. In year 1, the interest you earn is the same, $500. But in year 2, the interest you earn is 5% times $10,500, the original amount plus the interest you earned in year 1. So the second year's interest is $525. In year 3, you earn 5% interest on $11,025. $10,000 plus $500 year 1 interest plus $525 year 2 interest for an interest payment of $551.25. In total, you earn $1,576.25 in interest over 3 years with compounding interest versus $1,500 with simple interest, a difference of $76.25. The effect of compounding becomes especially powerful over longer time periods as the amount of earned interest becomes larger and larger.
So instead of trying to explain it, I found that really great video. I said, hey, this is going to explain it even faster than I can. So it's going to take time, right? At first, it's almost like watching grass grow, like, oh, big deal. I made $500 over a year's time. No, this is going to continue to compound, continue to grow over a span of time. So I'll give you some examples here. This is a really great calculator. I actually found a ton of calculators that were free online. Of course, the minute you put in your email, they're going to try to send you some information to invest with their companies. But just to give you a really strong visual of what exactly does that mean? Because we have to be excited. If we're going to commit to something and want to do it, we have to really know what does it mean, get excited about it, and be part of our goals. So savings accounts right now are offering annual interest rates. I think mine is about a 4.9% something at my local community bank. So you want to be setting money aside and then always investing the difference. So here's a better plan here. So for our $100,000, plus I'm going to continue to invest $1,000. Let's say I'm putting that aside. I know what I earn per year. I'm going to put aside my 10%. contribution to just continue to grow. And this is only for 10 years. Imagine if we did this for 20, 30, 40 years, depending on your age. The more time that we have to invest, it's just going to continue to compound and really grow quickly. And I just did a 4% annually. So my original 100,000 over 10 years is now 292,000. So it's almost triple in 10 years. So it's slow growth, but just keep thinking of that chart. But then after a short amount of time, 10 years goes by like that. I don't know if you guys have ever said, man, I'm celebrating my 30th birthday. Now I'm celebrating my 40th birthday. Where'd the time go? So it goes by really quickly, but you got to put the action plan in place now, like today, the longer that you wait. And don't beat yourself up saying, man, I should have done this 20 years ago, whatever. It doesn't matter where you're at. You got to start now, right? Until we can get our time machine, go backwards, we can't. We have to do it now. And then we have to share this information with others. Make sure that we're setting up our children and our grandchildren, or future generations so that they can understand this as well. All right. Now diversifying your investments. So I love, this is actually from Money Master the Game, the Tony Robbins book. He breaks it down into 3 different buckets, which actually made things for me super clear. And it really helped me build my plan. So your first bucket, we call it your security bucket. So this is the first step in any situation. Everyone wants to feel secure, right? You want to make sure your bills are paid. That's going to be first. So these are safe investments, even like a bond or a savings account, CDs, something like that. They don't yield a ton of return. They're unlikely to make you a lot of money, but they're also not going to lose you money. They're not very risky. So this is also like buying your own house, having your own mortgage, because that's a very safe, you're living there, plus it's appreciating, you're putting that equity into your home, and then just making sure all your bills are paid. So that's step 1. So I don't expect everyone to start talking about their dream bucket when we haven't just, got the basics down first. So your first goal is just making sure all your bills are paid. You can start investing on very small, safe investments, just to get you started. And then there's your growth bucket. So now maybe you're starting to see some compounded interest happening in your savings account. Your CD is giving you a little bit of return, starting to build a little bit of confidence for you. Now you want to put things into a little bit riskier investments like stocks. They often beat the average returns in the long run, but they are volatile. So you don't want to be looking at them every day. It's the mistake that I made when I first started investing. My husband's like, stop looking at your stocks every day. I'm logging into the app. All right, this is over a long period of time. It's not over a daily time. So it takes a while for these to pan out, but you're putting that money aside and then kind of forgetting about it. Let it grow. Tony Robbins also suggests you don't look at your accounts, but once or twice a year. So when you actually look at them, then you can make decisions. All right, you know what? I think this industry is not doing well. I'm going to sell this one off. I want to reinvest into the new Apple product or, whatever. So these are going to be stocks that you can do. And Robinhood is the app that I use. I've used a lot of them, Charles Schwab, Morgan Stanley, but Robinhood does not have a lot of the fees. So it's an app you can download for free, and you're going to miss out on a lot of those fees, which really add up. So if you read the Tony Robbins book, he goes a lot into detail about the fees that those big companies charge. So Robinhood kind of came in, made it an app, saved a lot of money, and kind of changed the game plan for stocks and investing. And lastly, the dream bucket. So now that you have some, security, we have some growth that's happening. Now what about your dream bucket? This is going to be the juice that keeps you motivated, keeps you excited. So the dream bucket, it's going to give you some profits from the other 2 buckets. So maybe you're making some money here that you're going to put into your dream bucket, like 10% of your portfolio value at the end of each and every year for things that really motivate you. Like, if I could make this happen, what would be my dream? Right? So that's going to be a really fun exercise I want you guys to do after this too. So number 1, we have to know your numbers. What do those numbers look like? So what is our security number? Have you actually tallied up, what are all my bills, my mortgage, my utilities, insurance, taxes, your transportation costs, food, all that stuff? What is that number? So I want to challenge you guys, if you have pen and paper, which I hope you do, is write it down. Put together all of your security numbers. So if you had some income coming in, your financial freedom, and you never had to worry about making a mortgage payment again, you knew that you had enough money being generated from your investments, from your savings accounts, from your compounded interest that's going to make your overhead paid. So that's going to be our first goal that we want to hit for you guys. So what is that number? So take a couple minutes and jot that down. So we're talking mortgage, utilities, insurance, taxes, transportation, and average food cost. And then have that number in mind. Now, number 2, let's talk about our growth bucket. So what should your investments start that are going to appreciate, that are going to grow, that's going to help you hit that financial freedom faster? All these investments, this is going to be additional income that you're making outside of your job. right? Because one day we don't want to work anymore. We know we have to work today, but the idea is that we're going to save and invest some of our money while we're in our working years to make sure that our investments pay us so we can stop working. So these are going to be your growth bucket. So some investments, if you want to buy some real estate, maybe a rental property or Airbnb or a second home somewhere, something like that. So real estate, stocks, bonds, commodities, currencies, and these are also going to be your risk bucket. So you don't want to be, spending the money that you should be spending on your mortgage, putting it into your risk bucket, because sometimes you have to be prepared to lose your investment. As long as you're doing your due diligence and you're researching companies and kind of watching trends and do the best that you can. There's lots of financial advisors that can help. But I do think in your best interest would just be to do your due diligence. Invest in something that you know. I know real estate, so I own a lot of real estate, right? So now what does that number look like? So imagine if I wanted to buy a second home, what would that mean? And then run those numbers. Let's say it's a $300,000 house. I'd have to put down 20%. So start kind of doing some of that calculations and write that number down for me. And then lastly, your dream bucket. So this is going to make it lots of fun. This makes it exciting. So setting something aside for yourself or people that you love so that you can actually enjoy life while you're building your wealth. So this is going to excite you, put some juice in your life so that you want to earn and contribute even more. And think about that dream number. What does that look like? So maybe you want to buy a boat. Maybe you want to fly first class. Maybe you want to vacation somewhere special. Whatever that is, what is that number? So again, if we're going to put some massive action plans in place, we have to know where we're going. So if mine was a trip to Hawaii, I'm going to say, okay, I want to fly first class. I want to stay at a nice place. It might be a $10,000 vacation, but now I have that number, $10,000, and that's my dream bucket. So write that down for you guys too. Hopefully you got it written down. We got our security, we got our growth and dream. All right. So I have a couple examples because it's so important that you know your numbers. So I wrote an example down for security, the mortgage 2,000, insurance 500, taxes, healthcare, all of this to be a $4,300 a month overhead nut. Like I know that's what I have to cover to just, have a home to sleep in, have all my security needs met. So annually that's 51,600. So that's probably, like probably most people, that's why we work today. So we're trying to earn a living. We have to earn, minimum 50,000 a year just to pay our bills, just to be secure. But now I want to make sure that I'm going to put some motion in place that I can make sure that 51,000 a year is generated from my investments and I have financial freedom where now I don't have to work, but I still have all my security needs met. Number two, your growth number. So what does that mean? So I like 10% of income. As you're generating income, set that money aside. And I put it in a separate account. I actually, whenever I moved accounts and I closed one from one bank to another, I forgot I had an account in there. I had like $20,000 sitting in an account that I forgot because I had set it up on auto payment, right direct from my direct deposit right into that account. I forgot it was even there. So that's what's super exciting. Just set the money aside, have it automated in an account you don't look at every day, because for some reason we find a way to spend the money. If you know it's there, we always end up just meeting it. Maybe we end up buying something just to hit, I made an extra sale this month. I got an extra bonus. It's almost like the money's spent before it hits. So put a discipline in place. Don't look at it, set it aside. And before you know it, it's going to continue to grow and start to help for your investments. So 10% of income, and then we're going to reinvest the difference. We don't want to take that 10% out. We want it to compound like I showed you in the video. So keep the money there and just keep reinvesting that as well. So to retire comfortably with your security bucket full, we know all our needs are met. We have a home to live in and a car to drive. Now we're going to start working towards our growth without working. So I ran some numbers and I put in about 60,000 a year. So that's what I need my investments to generate for me each and every year to still be able to do investments and have that 10% to put aside. And then lastly, that dream number, buying a boat, second home. Maybe you want to pay off your parents' mortgage. I really love that idea. I had someone share that with me at a real estate conference. I'm like, man, that would be super fulfilling to take care of your parents in that way. A dream vacation, that Hawaii trip. Maybe you want to start a new business. Maybe you want to fly first class. So I said, you know what? I put some numbers. I said, I think to do those things that I'd want to do, it's probably about another $3,000 a month or about $36,000 a year. So now we have our numbers. Hopefully you guys have yours. So putting all those together annually for me to have all of my needs met, to still be growing and investing and have my dreams met cost 147,000 a year. So when I did this exercise for the first time, I went, this is a lot lower than I thought. So to do all those things, we assume it just costs lots of money, right? Like, holy cow, will that ever happen? Maybe someday if I win the lottery, maybe these things will happen. But when I actually really broke it down, I'm going, okay, now I have a number in mind. So if my number, it's just shy of 150,000, how can I generate $150,000 a year without having to work? Now I have a goal. Now I have a number. So let's say within 10 years, let's say we own a rental property. Oh, I love this. Okay. So you also want to calculate what is your net worth. So looking back, let's say we put this plan together. We have a 10-year plan. We have all of our savings and stocks and things that we plan on doing. We want to pay down our own mortgage so we have equity in our home. We want $100,000 in retirement. We want $60,000 in 401k, want $50,000 in savings, all of these things so that I have a net worth of $710,000. I think they said the average American only has about $2,000 in savings. If something were to happen in their life, they could only come up with about $2,000. So that's pretty scary. So we don't want to be in that bucket. We want to continue to grow and invest and have a plan. And within 10 years, let's say these are just suggestions, but these were what my plans were. These are the things that I wanted to do. And I put that plan together for myself. So what does your financial plan look like? So we've got to write it out. So put your numbers down. Really get clear about what it is that you want to accomplish. Have your number in mind, and then we want to put that plan into action. So number one, what's the max opportunity that you can earn at your current career? What value can you add? What value can you bring? What new skill set can you bring to earn the money that you need at your current career? Put aside 10% into an account that you don't look at or spend. Just send it automated every week. If you're paid that way, if you're paid commission like real estate sales agents, put 10% aside so you don't even look at it. Enroll in a 401k plan. And all of these as well can be on auto draft. Every pay period, you just set that aside for growth. Always reinvest the difference. So you're putting the money in there and then you're not looking at it. And then reinvesting the compounded interest as it's growing. So what our big goal is, we want to focus on earning more money during our working years. We don't want to be working when we're 70, right? I feel really bad when I see, greeters at Walmart still having to work to pay their bills, right? Most likely they didn't have an education. They didn't have a literacy plan put together. So we want to earn now more money right now so that we don't have to work as hard later. And then set a retirement date. When do you want to stop working? What is your plan? Mine, I always feel like I have a lot more. My husband's a little bit older, so I want to retire earlier. So if I have that retirement date, that's maybe, 5-10 years earlier than other people, I better get to work. That just means I have to work harder now, right? So put that retirement date down and then work all your numbers backwards. So it's a really great way to do it. So if I know, let's say I wanted to retire at the age of 50, I'm going to start saying, all right, that means I need to earn this amount of money in the next 10 years, each and every year, to make sure that by the time I'm 50, I can retire with this amount of money. So whatever that is for you guys, write it down and then work it backwards. Now, how about real estate? So this is something very near and dear to my heart, very passionate about. I love real estate. I own a lot of real estate. I always think this is a great plan to have in your investment portfolio. So let's give you some breakdowns, some real numbers here. Let's say you're looking to purchase a home. It's listed as $300,000. You want to put 20% down. So that means you have to have $60,000 saved. So if you've been earning money and then saving your 10%, and I don't care how long it takes you, but you start having 60,000 down, now you can actually afford to buy this investment property. Most people look at the top line and they go 300,000, man, that's going to take me forever to earn that much money. You don't need the full 300,000. All you need is that 20% down. I would recommend this with investment properties. You don't want to be over leveraged. So if things change in the marketplace, I don't want you to be in a bad position. So I would always recommend taking the disciplines to have the savings to put down that minimum 20%. Then, so let's say your monthly mortgage now, it's $1,700 a month. Pay an additional $400, which is interest-free money to your mortgage every single month. Even if you do it as $100 a week or $200 every 2 weeks, whatever you're doing, paying that additional $400 each and every month, it's now interest-free money. You're not paying interest on that money. So if you guys have ever purchased a home and you see that really long 30-page report of what do you actually pay after 30 years of interest. Whew, don't look at those numbers. It's not pretty. But by putting an additional small amount down on your mortgage, you're going to pay it off in half the time. And you get all that money in equity interest free. So now we're getting a 30-year mortgage, but our plan is really to pay it off within 15 years. Now, within that 15 years, we also have seen huge spikes in real estate demand. So the house itself is also appreciating, right? So we're going to make money on the property. We're also going to make it by holding it and sitting. Again, what did I say? This is a long-term plan. I'm talking about flipping properties here, very quickly trying to make a buck. This is a long-term plan. Let time set so that home has time to appreciate. So appreciates, let's say, $200,000 over those 15 years. So that's pretty exciting. And now your mortgage is mortgage free. So you have no mortgage, which is awesome. The property has appreciated, and potentially, let's say you want to rent it, it's going to give you positive cash flow as well. So giving you an example for that rental property, it's 300,000, 20% down. Let's say your rental income could be 2,500. So if we know your mortgage is 1,700, you can rent it for 2,500. Now you also have a positive cash flow of $800 a month. And this is not money you're having to work for. So by saving that 60,000, now you own an asset, you own a property that's going to be appreciating, but it's also paying down the mortgage. So you're not paying the mortgage, your renter is, right? So over 20 years, let's say, now you have an appreciated value. Now this property was worth 300, now it's worth 500,000, plus you rented it. So you made that $9,600 every year, and you got 200,000 in equity. It's a really, really great opportunity. And how quickly can you do this to start to grow your net worth? So now it's to the point, this is such a fun game. I'm like, man, how much property can I buy? How much money can I save? This has now become exciting. Instead, it used to be, man, I have to sacrifice my $6 coffee every morning, to now going, how much can I save? Man, I wonder if I could put 20% aside, because now I could buy more properties. I'm going to get to my retirement age faster. Like, start building in a positive reinforcement versus looking at this as a negative. This is super exciting. Then, of course, your 401k plans. So you can do Roth or IRAs, all of this as well. Is going to be super valuable. So the average annual return is 6% over decades. I'm not talking about overnight, looking at it every day, watching the market go like this. We're talking about long-term consistent growth. So take advantage of compounded interest by reinvesting the difference, and then add your numbers to calculate what your time frames. This is another little calculator. I have a link here. I can share with you guys. Just send me an email after, and I'll make sure I get you this link. But the cool thing, you can actually put in all your information. What's your age? What's your salary now? How much can you put into a 401k? If you get an employer to match it, even better, right? And then put your contribution of your salary, can be set aside on auto draft, money you never see. And then when do you want to retire? You know, how long do you plan to live? People are living a lot longer nowadays, right? And so you can actually run these numbers and calculate to see what that actually will look like for you. So same thing, you could do a Roth or an IRA. So both of these are going to be really important. Here's the numbers I just put in on the slide before. At the retirement age of 65, the 401k balance is going to be $969,000, just shy of $1 million, just by putting together that plan. By putting my 10% aside, here were the contributions, the investment returns. So I end up having about $5,300 per month can be withdrawn at age 66. So that's pretty cool. So if you're, whatever that security number is, I think mine was 4,300. With just this one 401k plan, I've hit my security number. I've earned $5,300 a month withdrawing from this plan at age 65. So I've just got my first bucket, and I have a little bit extra for my growth bucket from this one investment. And also stocks and bonds. So I want to make sure we're constantly taking advantage of time and compounded interest by putting a set amount into it each and every month. And I also have a calculator for the stocks and bonds. But what's really great, I started from 2024 and I went all the way to 2033 to see how much is going to grow from there. So the starting balance, I put 5,000, and then I contribute $100 a month, so 1,200 a year. And then you see the interest that's being earned is in yellow, and look how it continues to grow and expand. So my investment after 10 years with a 4% return, which is kind of low, I put in 5,000, contribute $100 more a month. My investment now is worth 22,000, right, over a 10-year span. So you'll start to just calculate these numbers and really see, how am I going to hit my growth bucket and then my dream bucket? Because of course, that's the really fun one. So now, how to save your money. So another benefit is that doing all of this investing is tax deductible. So we want to earn money, but then we also don't want to be giving it all to the government. So you want to make sure as you're putting money aside into your 401ks, you can contribute to them. There's certain levels you can do each year, but they also have levels that your employer can contribute to your 401k as well. So in 2023, the most you can contribute for pre-tax dollars is 22,000 a year. In 2024, that raises to 23,000 a year. If you're 50 and older, they actually give you some grace and you get to contribute an additional $7,500 a year. So it's money that you're going to be either paying yourself first, or paying to the government. I definitely would recommend getting these set up, put into place, their savings while you're in your working years today. Other ways to save on your taxes, the mortgage interest paid on your home. So that's going to be a huge savings. Closing costs, tax, when you buy a home, all of that stuff is all tax deductible. Opening a business, you can open an LLC for maybe $150 a month, or sorry, I think a year, 150 a year. Very inexpensive to open an LLC, but now you can start writing things off like your cell phone, your travel, your car, your gas, all those things you can start writing off because you're a business owner. Open a health savings account, $3,600 per year. You can write off completely tax-free, and it's a savings account, so you don't lose it. So if you're paying an insurance premium each and every month, you never get to use that money. You're paying the $1,000 a month.